Ready to start this next year with a bang? If so, then stick around for this video because we're going to show you our secrets to making 2020 your best year. And we're going to share some of the secrets that you need to prioritize to really make yourself effective, focused, and productive in the next decade. I'm Brit, and this is Chris Carmichael, and together we have founded The Elevated Life, where we teach you these simple mindset shifts to create radical transformation in your life. And this is a really important topic because, hello, December, we are already at the end of this year and at the end of this decade. So we're going to share some tips on how you can make this next decade kick ass. So if you're tuning in, let us know where you're watching from. Is this your first time? And are you ready to make 2020 your best year?
Yeah, this is a great topic. You know, a couple months ago, we talked about what we're doing for our last 90 days, like what if you want to know about that video, go watch back. But the gist of it is so many people, I see so many videos out there about people talking about rushing, about trying to do so much, you know, to really finish off the year super strong. We don't do it that way. We rest for the last 90 days. And so at this point, now we've rested up, we've taken time, we've slept more, you know, we've done all the relaxation stuff, we've gotten a massage. We've slowed down with any kind of social engagement that we have with people, just so we can spend a little more time together, you know, making cozy recipes, doing those kind of things. And we're now in a place where we've rested, and now we're looking forward. So it's like, we're almost there. Like, we're almost at the start of the year. And I feel like so many people wait so long, and they get to January 1, and then they feel like they've missed the boat because they want to try something so hard, but they didn't do any kind of like earlier, what do I really want to do? What do I really want to think about? So this is the perfect time for you to start getting on your A's and B's and be looking for, what is it that I want to be doing in the next year?
Yeah. Hey, Julia. Hey, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, Michelle. Thanks for tuning in, guys. All right. In this video, we're going to share how to make 2020 your best year.
All right. So the first one we want to do is to reflect on our accomplishments. So we want to look back and take a pause and say, what worked this year? What were we doing that really stood the test of time? And be looking at that and saying, good, because I want to be carrying those through for the next year.
Yeah. So think about it. Like, we're ending an entire decade right now. There is so much that you've accomplished. And, you know, I was doing a one recently, and she said, I feel like I'm 30 and I'm here. And I just looked at her and I said, honey, you're 30 and you're fucking here. Like, you're still breathing, you're still alive. And there have been lessons that you've learned over this last decade and the last 30 years that have all come to this point. Like, you needed to learn each and every lesson. You had to go through bad relationships, shitty jobs, so that you could discover who you really are. And I feel like 2020 is inviting all of us to step into that bold authenticity, to be who we really are. But before we do that, we need to honor who we are and where we've come from. So I want you to reflect on all the lessons that you've learned, all the obstacles that you've overcome. Like, have you started a business? Have you created more income for yourself? Have you started a family or a relationship? There's no, you know, have you discovered more aspects of who you authentically are? Like, take time to reflect on all the celebrations, because we feel like we're not enough. And until we start to celebrate how far we've come and our accomplishments and like badass we are, like, it's going to be hard to keep staying the course and staying focused and motivated to go after bigger dreams that you're being intuitively called to.
Holly, it's so important. And you touched on something, the starting a business. If you did anything this year, if you took a chance or a risk and did anything, it doesn't matter if it failed or succeeded. Like, that's not the important part. The important part, I mean, think about it. How many people sit on the sidelines their whole life and never do anything? I mean, they never start a business. They never go after the love relationship they want. They never, like, they're never in the game. And so if you've actually, you know, if you started to show up this last year, whether you fell down once you showed up, I mean, we all do. That's where the whole part of doing it. That's the price of success, is all the failure that you go through. And so you really got to look at yourself and say, if I failed this year, fantastic. That failing means you were in there, you were in the game, you were doing something was happening. And so because of that, just use that as a stepping stone. Like Britt mentioned, look at the lessons that you learned. The lessons are going to be the important part, because those are things that you can give to the next generation, to your friends, to people who are finally starting a business. And you're like, oh, well, I did that. Well, let me tell you some of the pitfalls that I found out about. Like, you can help and educate other people. So being able to make the mistakes allows you to connect with others so much more. So don't feel like you can't be vulnerable. Don't feel like that shows weakness or something. Like, that is your power. All the problems that you have and all the triumphs, all those kind of things, that's where the character gets built. And that's what really you turn into. It's not like we want to become a millionaire so we have the $1 million. It's because we want to develop the character that it took to get us there. Like that's where
who do you have to become
really
to be that person?
Yes.
And what it also does is it eliminates fear, because guess what? You probably were worried about it, which is why you manifested the situation, so that you could overcome it, so that you could say, oh, fear, that was some bullshit. This was new and I had to learn something. And instead of being so afraid to try something new, like we all suck at the beginning. I took Chris to one of my first hair appointments and at the end, I was like, what do you think? It was awesome, right? I did like red and pink and black and blonde highlights. It was crazy. And he was like, that looked like shit. And I love him for that, because it allowed me to, like take criticism and realize like I maybe am not the best in the beginning, but after 13 years, oh my God, we're celebrating 13 years together on Monday. So exciting. But after 13 years, I've gotten a hell of a lot better. I could do it with my eyes closed, as opposed to in the beginning, we all suck. So allow 2020 to be the year that you just suck at something, because that means that you're in the ring, like Chris said, and you're learning something. Ooh. All right. Shara says, hey, y'all watching from work. Nothing like a lunchtime pick me up. I love it. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys for tuning in. So exciting. So what was your biggest accomplishment? Share some of your celebrations for the last decade. The last decade, man, we've made it. Yeah. Celebrate. We launched this online business, the Elevated Life. I mean, wow, it's so crazy. Congratulations on 13 years. Thank you so much. So exciting. Hey, Sharon. Oh my gosh. Love you so much, guys. Okay, let's keep going. Here's the thing.
Yeah. Number 2, make a plan. Yeah. This is the time. So like I said, once January 1 comes, it's not the time to make a plan. Time to make a plan is now, so you can reflect, so you can get ready, so you can prepare all the stuff you need to. If you need to go out and get those new running shoes or the little small shorts or whatever it is that you need to accomplish whatever it is you want to do, now's the time to do it. Like this is that moment. Don't wait until you're already there at the starting line. That won't be helpful. We have plenty of time right now to think about it, to really sit down and piece it through. What is it that I want to accomplish? And really, it's not about the goal. It's not about, oh, I have to do all these crazy things in my life. It's just about setting up, what do I want to focus on? Accomplishment just means, what am I going to put my time and energy into? So ask yourself, what do I need? What does my life need right now? Is it my relationships that are lacking? Is it my business life that's lacking? And make a plan. Say, well, if I were to know how to do all this stuff, what would I have to do? Yeah. Who do I need to learn it from? Who's already doing it? Who's faster than I have, or who's found the way, and I can go seek those people out. Immediately start that. The plan, find someone else's plan. Like I don't know why people don't do this more often. Find somebody else's plan and look at it and say, wow, this aligns with a lot of what my goals are, and take those bits and pieces off of it, and then grab onto the pieces that work for you and that you want to do. It's so
you
much
take
easier.
Their structure and you infuse your unique sparkle, magic, and authenticity into it.
Golly, I'm so glad we don't have to just create everything from scratch anymore. Like that's what the internet is giving us. Like not only can we sit here and communicate with each other and see all your beautiful faces on Friday and everything and be a community, but we can tell each other like, hey, I've already done that stuff. Like I've got you. Like just try it out this way, skip that step. That step doesn't even work. Don't try that one. You'll take months doing that. So make a plan though. Don't wait. Start thinking now. And while you've got time, we have the holidays coming up. It's going to be a lot of hustle and bustle. But get down, spend time, sit down on a Sunday or whatever. Find yourself 30 minutes. Say for 30 minutes, I'm going to dedicate to making next year better for me. I'm going to make my own plan. I'm going to sit down and write down the things I really want to do, the things that will matter, not the things I want to give up on, January 15th, not the things I don't want to do through March. Like, but what's the long-term goal? So much about the planning is looking at every single thing in your life long-term. You have to play the long game. And that's why it's so important to start looking at your relationship like that. Like when I look at my relationship and I think I want this thing to last the rest of my life, I'm going to take different daily actions. Like I'm going to plan different. All those fights that you get into in the beginning, those are meaningless. There's no reason to go through those things anymore. And so if we ever get into a spot where we're doing that, I stop. I'm like, why am I doing this? Mm-hmm. Like this is not.
I used to not talk to him for days. Yes. I would give him the silent treatment because I was stubborn, and the whole time I just wanted to be loved and like hug him and be like, this is dumb, but I was just going to prove who was stronger. And so many people tell me when I'm coaching them in relationships that they're trying to trump their partner. Like, why? Like, is that a relationship or is that like a drama series? Like, I don't understand why we're wasting our time doing that.
Yeah, don't do that.
They say failing to plan is planning to fail. So it's so important to break down you know, what are your goals and what are your projects? You know, inside the Elevated Life Club, we actually have a masterclass on setting yourself up for success. We did it in January so that we could get you guys the tools. And how do you do that? How do you structure your life? Because we all know spontaneity is fun, but it also doesn't mix well with procrastination and self-doubt. So if you have a structure and plan in place, then you know what you need to do every day to make your dreams happen, even if fear comes up. So if that's something you struggle with, we encourage you to come into the Elevated Life Club and check out that masterclass. But one of the things that we teach to prioritize is your health. Yeah. And that is the next tip. If you aren't healthy, if you don't have energy, you're not going to do shit. Period. Like whenever I don't, which is very rare, since we've gone plant-based, it's very rare that we find any illness, which is really awesome, which before was not the case. Like allergies all the time getting sick, my tonsils, and it was just a mess. But now we prioritize our health and we have the energy to sustain. People ask me all the time, like, how do you do it all? How do you have so many businesses? My first answer is we don't have children. That's the first thing. The second is that we're healthy and we have an abundant amount of energy because we are prioritizing our health and wellness.
Yeah, this is so key. And I think people fundamentally miss it. And they do two things. One, January 1st comes and people decide to starve themselves and they decide they're going to go to the gym for 25 hours a day. And you realize like you can't do either of those things. They're both impossible. And so what we're talking about, when I said in the beginning, think long-term, what is your long-term health need? Like what would you need to start doing today that at 50 and 60 and 70 and beyond would benefit you?
Even if it's just walking 15 minutes, there's massive amount of studies that show that even can reduce breast cancer in women, like just walking 15 minutes a day. It's incredible. Yeah,
so get a health plan for yourself. Where are you lacking? Do you have crappy food habits? Do you super emotionally eat all the time? You know, do you never exercise? Is your mobility crappy? Do you not do any kind of yoga? How's your stress management? Are you sleeping at night? Like, are you drinking water every day? Like, it's all the basics. Like, none of this stuff is complicated, but we have to have a plan and a plan to look at and to realize that it's those basics that we have to cover. If you're not getting, 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep a night, what are you doing? Like, we know that we need that. Our body needs time to repair and recover. Our brain does too. And so it's so important to get back to those basics and to say, I'm going to start doing this. Like, I'm not going to stay up anymore. I'm not going to go out every single night. I'm not going to drink so much. Like whatever that thing is for you, decide like, hey, I'm just going to do this. Like my health is important because it's what's going to sustain me. It's going to deliver me to my dreams. Like Brit said, a lot of people have these big dreams and they don't want to do the health stuff that they have to have the energy to be able to sustain. Like otherwise you end up with burnout because you just, don't feel good anymore and you get sick and you wonder like, how is all this happening? And so focus on whatever that is for you. Again, if it's just walking, if it's walking twice a week, hell, get out and walk twice a week. If that's the most you can do, perfect. It's way better than just sitting there. So figure out what that is for you and start doing it.
Yeah, and just start small and celebrate every small win. When I was over 200 pounds, the first 10 pounds was like the biggest celebration. I didn't wait to celebrate when I lost 70 pounds. That would have taken forever and I would have like given up and been miserable the whole time. So like literally every step is an accomplishment and we just take that for granted. So start celebrating yourself more. That's one of the lessons I teach in Shine School is celebrate the small wins. Someone says, please save this. Actually, it will be saved. I'll have it on my YouTube. Go onto my blog at BritneyCarmichael.com. So thank you for, it seems like they like it. How are you guys enjoying this topic? Is this something that you guys want to elevate in 2020? Like you want to make your, like, is health something you need to prioritize? Are you someone who lacks structure and needs to make a plan and needs to know, like, here are my top 3 projects. Here are the 5 steps that each of those 3 projects needs in order to move forward. That way you can't say, I don't know what to do. Like sit down for 5 minutes and like use your creative imagination because we know that you are intelligent and creative enough to come up with some ideas on like, what are the next few steps?
Yeah, and if you really want a way to do that, sit down and ask yourself, what would the perfect version of me do? If I had the perfect health, if I was in the perfect career for me, if I was in the perfect relationship for me, what is it that I would need to do differently and what daily habit or weekly habit or monthly would I have to implement continuously to make that happen? And that's what you do. Like, don't overthink it. It's just figure out what that perfect version would do and just do that. It's very, very simple.
All right. The next thing to make your 2020 your best year is to implement our famous elevated life 7 or above rule. This is what founded the entire elevated life philosophy, and it's what we live our life by to keep us in our authentic integrity and to help us eliminate the feeling of guilt when we say no to things that don't align with where we're going, because that happens all the time. So many people pleasers end up wasting all of their time and energy trying to do stuff for other people, yet they don't ever spend time going after their dreams. So our 7 or above rule is simple. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being awful, 10 being absolutely amazing, we say no to anything less than a 7. So we live our life by the 7 or above philosophy. And here's the caveat to that. There are some things like laundry that aren't really a 7, right?
I love laundry, by the way.
But you can reframe your thoughts around some of the things that you have to do that you wouldn't classify as a 7 by realizing like, okay, well, doing laundry means that I get these pretty clean clothes, and that's really wonderful, and I enjoy that. So you can reframe your mindset. You can delegate, delete, forget it, say no, and really allow yourself to get truthful with what you want to do. Because when you say yes to things that you don't want to be at, people can feel that, and you've just wasted everyone's energy.
Yeah, this is one of the important rules, and it is so simple. And so just ask yourself, is the job I'm currently in or what I'm currently working on a 7 or above? And if it's not, do you think that the next year is going to make it a 7 or above? Because if it isn't, now's the time to start working on it. You have to start having those hard questions and those hard conversations with yourself and with your loved ones. Is your relationship that way? Is everything in your life that way? Is everything that you're doing, except like, do you not like going to your family on Christmas? If you don't, make a phone call. Say, hey, I'm not coming this year. I just don't feel like it. Yeah. I want to take some personal time for myself. I think that would be really healthy for me. So that's what I'm going to do this year. And be okay with everyone freaking out, because people sometimes freak out when you change plans like that. Mm-hmm. But like, that's the kind of like spirit that you need to have if you want to make any kind of changes or any kind of splashes in the world. It's very easy to be mediocre and to be upset with life. But like, so many of us don't make it. Like if you're here, like you've made it, like you're still alive. There's still so much chance and opportunity and beautiful things for you to see. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that. And you start by this 7 or above. All the stuff that's not there, no more.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's tune into the comments real quick. Are you guys loving this? Is there something in your life that is not a 7 or above and you know you could let it go? All right, let me just see. I feel like I need to stop eating my feelings. I need to have a balanced diet even when bad things are happening. Absolutely. I mean, health is the first wealth. There's a reason why that's saying has stood the test of time, because it's the one thing that we do have. Like without our health, like we don't have the energy to do anything. So it's really important to realize, like, are we putting the food in our mouth for fuel, or are we doing it for emotional healing? And if that's the case, then we have to find a new way to go about expressing your feelings.
Yeah, and one of the problems with that, like if that worked, if being able to eat your emotions, which I know a lot of people do, I think we all have.
After my grandmother died, we came home and we looked at each other and we said, do you want to eat your feelings? Which, I mean, we really didn't. We ate the same thing we normally would eat. It wasn't like
But it's true though.
You know, but it was a moment. It was like, oh, I don't even want to eat. Like,
yeah, but weird. So many of us do, and it doesn't work. And the reason why it doesn't work is because your emotions need a way to express themselves. And the way you do that is through not putting things in, but taking things out. You know, a lot of people use exercise or running or crying or laughter. There's a lot of ways to deal with emotions. It's all stuff that's external. It's taking something that's inside of you and converting it through heat or whatever that may be out of you.
Tears or sweat.
Yeah, so if you're taking stuff in, what you're doing is repressing the feelings, and they will still come out.
And for
you're
me,
not actually dealing with them.
That's why I was overweight, is because I was pushing my emotions down rather than allowing them to come out.
Yeah. That's a bad loop.
And you know, that leads us to our next tip on how to make 2020 your best year.
Yeah, which is abandon everything that's not working. In the beginning, we talked about reflecting on your accomplishments, which is finding out what is working for you. What have you done that has been successful so that you can do more of that? The last part is about getting rid of all the stuff that's not working. There's so much about mindfulness and awareness that allows you to begin to look at, what am I actually doing in life that's working for me? Every single thing in your life that's not working. That's your relationship. Then you need to have that talk with your partner and tell them, hey, I really want to make this work. If we were to do something that really made our relationship awesome, what would that be? And start asking them. And if they don't want to work on that, then that's a conversation you need to have. So this is starting looking at what's working, what's not working, and to build your life with a plan around those things. So you stop doing the things that you don't enjoy and you start to do more of the things that you know you want to do.
So is there something in your life right now that is not working, whether it's a relationship or a belief or a feeling or a job or a location? There's so many different things and aspects to our life that we have to take responsibility and start making changes, even small little changes in categories that we don't think maybe make a big impact in our life. Maybe it's like, how clean is our, office space or something like that, or even just like your car. Like anytime I get into someone's car and it's a hot mess, I'm like, okay, I see I see the reflection of what's going on in here, So we have to start taking a look at every aspect of our life and ask ourselves, like, does this align with like what feels good to me? And know that you have the power to make those changes.
Oof.
Damn.
So there it is. There's your tips for having the best 2020. And the big one too.
Yeah.
7 or above one. That's going to be the one that really makes
it. That's literally what the elevated life philosophy is founded on, is not doing shit that doesn't align with what, because living life is serving the world at your highest potential. And you can only do that by saying no to what doesn't feel right? We've got to start following our heart and trusting our intuition more. And we know that 2020 is going to be a massive year of change and transformation. And if you're someone who needs a little accountability and support, then we encourage you to join us. Like, take a moment to pop into the Elevated Life Membership Club and check out some of the master classes that we've done, from setting yourself up to success to overcoming your fear of money or confidence. There's so many different master classes that we've covered where we'll give you the step-by-step system on how to master those areas of your life. So if there's something you're struggling with, we encourage you to come join us, because we've got a live masterclass coming up next Tuesday on finding your balance. Yeah,
that's so important, especially with work and life. That's really what we're going to be covering a ton. So many people end up going after accomplishments and burning out, and they don't have that balance. They'll do really great in the career, and then their relationship suffers, or vice versa. And so it's so good to figure out from a mental set and what you can be doing on a daily basis to get that seesaw back in order, so that you can really feel like, man, I'm kind of having the best of both. Have your cake and eat it too. That's really the way to be.
Sounds good to me. So out of this list on how to make your 2020 your best year, what resonated most with you? Is that reflecting on your accomplishments and giving yourself a little bit of grace and like celebration on how far you really have come and the lessons that you've learned, and figuring out who you are and what you don't want? That's a big, important piece. Is it making a plan? Do you lack structure?
Yeah. Are you prioritizing your health? Again, the 7 or above rule. And can you abandon everything that's not working? Those are the things. So good. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate all the love and support. If you love this video, please tag a friend and let them know to tune in, because we know that 2020 is going to call you to rise. We know that 2020 is a new decade and a fresh start for you to let go of the fear, for you to let go of the doubts, and to accept the lessons that life has given you, so that you can start with a fresh, clean slate. Oof. We'll see you guys next Friday on the Elevated Life series at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Peace. Bye.